we're talking about algae, and the two in particular are spirulina and chlorella. And it is a multi-billion-dollar agricultural crop in Asia where they have taken it every day for 60 years. And yet, and it's been sold in America for 60 years as well, but there's virtually no knowledge about it. Some people put smoothie, powdered spirulina in their smoothie, and they don't know it's good for them because it's called a superfood, but they're not really sure exactly what it does.
I'm one of those people. I put it in my yogurt because I absolutely cannot stand it. I'm good at taking most things, but like, all raw dog protein powder, no problem. All kinds of things. Yeah, most people just would, just say like that'd be her. Yeah, I have no problem with it.
Yeah.
But powdered spirulina,
Yeah, it's rough.
that's me. The only thing I can't even put it in a smoothie. It ruins it for me.
Yeah.
The only thing I can do it in is yogurt for whatever reason. That milky, creamy I can in peanut butter. Yeah, these peanut butter yogurt and I kind of hide it that way.
Yeah.
And I hide it in there for my kids too because let's call it Grinch yogurt.
Oh,
green.
Yeah, Grinch. Well, yeah. In fact, I think he knew about this because there's this green eggs and hams.
Yes,
story,
right.
and I think
Okay, but the bits are
So-
nice because
you can swallow them, and there's no flavor, zero, and there's no repeat at all, and they're about the size of baby aspirin, so they're very, very tiny. So here's the thing that explains, I believe, why nobody knows about it. Well, there's a number of things. First of all, 99.9% of algae, spirulina and chlorella, is grown in Asia. So that's India, China, Taiwan. We grow ours in Taiwan, which is the gold standard for it.
why are we not growing it here?
Well, so I'm going to get to that.
Okay.
So you can't drive your bicycle to school or drive your car to work without going by an algae farm. They are grown in fresh water, so it's aquatic. It's aquaculture, so it's not. Yes,
I mean, in Asia or
yes, this is how it's grown for as an agricultural crop. So yes, there is algae in the ocean, and yes, it will close some of your beaches, but that's not the algae we're talking about. This is algae that's grown as an agricultural crop in fresh water.
Okay.
We're known because ours is triple filtered. But so the point is, it's everywhere. So you grow up with it. Now in America, we have corn and wheat and tomato patches and strawberry patches. No algae farms. Period. It's all in Asia. And 99% of the spirulina and chlorella that is sold in America, whether it's from Target or Whole Foods, is grown in India or China. And I'll explain why those are not high quality algae. And that's why we chose Taiwan. So number one, it's not grown here for mass consumption. So nobody knows about it. It's like this hidden agricultural crop. So that's number one. Number two, algae is food. Even the FDA considers it food. So there's no patent that you can get for growing algae. It's like broccoli. So biotech companies weren't really interested in pursuing it.
Of course. Okay.
And number three is that, well, two more, food companies don't launch new industries. So even though algae has been used for 60 years in Asia, it's not really in the mainstream. That's what we're trying to do, is get it out to the mainstream. So a food company would never launch it because what they do is they wait for a passionate entrepreneur like myself to prove an opportunity. This is what happened with collagen powder. This is what happened with bone broth. This is what happened with matcha. All these foods that have been used in other countries for centuries.
Electrolytes too. I feel like that one just got
Chlorophyll water was very hot a couple of years ago. NAD is very big. So they wait until somebody discovers something or brings something to America, proves there's an opportunity, and then they usually acquire the company. So that's why food companies wouldn't launch it, because they just don't launch new things. And the other thing is, the science is very complicated. I have spent 15 years going into the science. I discovered this place called PubMed, which is an online library of scientific documents. So anybody could have done what I did, because the science has been around for 75 years. There are 100,000 studies documenting all the health benefits that algae, spirulina, and chlorella provide. We're going to go through some of them. That's a big number. And there's 25,000 on a particular nutrient called superoxide dismutase, which protects your mitochondria, which protects you in your longevity. And we'll go into that in deeper. So the science has been there, but none of the other algae companies have bothered. Because they're mass market oriented products. They just want to sell stuff, and that's all they do. I built my company to make a difference in the world, to help people. I started the company because my younger sister had breast cancer, and her oncologist told her to change her diet to an alkaline diet because it would help with her healing. So I helped her figure out what that was, which led me to plant-based nutrition, which led me to algae, which is the oldest plant on
Did it help
Earth.
her?
Yes, yes, and she completely healed. She did go through chemo, but we celebrate her being cancer-free every year, and we're going to see her in 2 weeks. So we have a girls'
How
weekend.
long has she been cancer-free?
15 years. Yeah. So I started the company when, well, she had cancer. I helped her for a year. Then I went and got a health coaching certificate from the Institute for Integrative Nutrition, which led me to learning more about plant-based nutrition, which led me to algae, which led me to teach plant-based nutrition, and found out people had a hard time eating vegetables. So I decided I needed to find something that would give people the nutrition of vegetables without any of the work, any of the downside, none of the gas, none of the waste. And of course, let's face it, men and kids hate eating their vegetables. So when I discovered algae, because it's scientifically endorsed, 100,000 studies you can't argue with. United Nations has endorsed spirulina as the answer to world hunger for 50 years. There's a conference, you can go online and look at their conference, and it's because spirulina has the highest protein in the world, 3 times more protein than steak, chicken, or fish. Nothing in the world has more protein than spirulina.
Okay,
and nobody knows that.
That's so super interesting. How are they comparing the spirulina to the steak? Do you know that?
It's by weight. It is by weight.
Like wet weight of spirulina or dried?
Uh,
Dried steak and wet
I think it'd probably be dried. Yeah, it'd be probably so. And here's the thing. Well, first of all, it's the most concentrated protein. Number 2, it's a complete protein. It has all the amino acids your body can't make, and it has 18 of the 20 aminos. But here's the most important thing. It's the most bioavailable protein. And this is really good for athletes to know about. When you eat animal protein, which is really good for you, and I do too, your body can't absorb it in that state. It has to break it down into amino acids. And that can take up to 3 days. And even if you eat 50 grams of animal protein, like chicken, 50 grams of chicken would be about a small fist size. If you have compromised digestion, you don't have the factors and cofactors to break it all down.
Too fast sometimes.
You eat it too fast, right? You very often only end up absorbing 10% as aminos. So you may have eaten 50 grams of chicken,
Right.
but you only got 5 grams of aminos, and it took 3 days to even get the 5 grams. With algae, particularly spirulina, the protein is already in amino acids. There's nothing for your body to have to do to get access to it. So it's 99.9% bioavailable. And it takes seconds. Seconds if you chew it, minutes if you swallow it. So instead of waiting 3 days and getting 10% of your protein as aminos, you wait seconds or minutes and you get 100% of it. So when you get 30 tablets of spirulina will give you 5 grams of protein. And you think, well, that's not very much. Well, if you think about it, it's equal to 50 grams of chicken, because 50 grams of chicken gives you maybe 5 grams of aminos. You get 5 grams of protein from spirulina, you get 5 grams of aminos. It's 100% bioavailable. So it's very efficient protein.
Okay. Well, I know that the balance of aminos too is really, really important because a lot of times people focus on
particular
the
branch change,
but they don't necessarily think exactly about the what I consider like the micronutrients and or the breakdown, the even smaller bits of breaking bits, right? The bits of protein. That was not intentional, but
I like it. Yeah. And we call them bits because they're bits of food, but I could call them bits of protein too.
I was curious. I was going to ask you whether you eat meat because I know that you talk a lot about plant-based and alkaline, and I know that meat tends to be a little bit more acidic.
Yes.
And so I was kind of curious your take on all of that. Now, somebody like myself who prioritizes meat because I think again, I understand it as fairly bioavailable, better than vegetables and these other things like that, for the nutrients and the things that you get out of it and the protein. So I prioritize meat. I don't eat many vegetables.
Yeah.
I would say mostly animal-based. Let's just
Yeah.
simplify it with that.
Well, and it sounds you're almost carnivore, and this is great for carnivores too.
Okay.
And a lot of people go carnivore because there's these things called anti-nutrients. They're lectins and oxalates
Mhm.
that are sharp proteins that can puncture your stomach lining and can
That's mostly
cause.
in vegetables, right?
It's mostly in particular vegetables, all the nightshade vegetables like red peppers and tomatoes. It's in
Kale.
kale and
Mhm.
spinach,
Mhm.
almonds. So there's a
Those are
doctor by the name.
oxalates too.
They're very so. And for anyone who doesn't know what lectins and oxalates are, they're these sharp proteins that plants developed over time evolutionarily to protect themselves from predators like bugs and animals because they didn't want to die. So, because they hurt their stomachs as well. Well, algae doesn't have any lectins or oxalates because it's never been a land plant. It came from the ocean.
Mm.
So so carnivores who are staying away from vegetables for good reasons, in most cases, are still missing the benefits of some of the nutrients found in algae that are really important. One of them is chlorophyll. So chlorophyll is a pigment. It makes plants green. But what most people don't know is the chemical composition of chlorophyll is almost identical to the chemical composition of your hemoglobin. So when you eat enough chlorophyll, and no plants that we eat now have much chlorophyll because our soils are so damaged,
Mhm.
um, you're missing the ability for it to heal and build your blood. It's basically that simple. They used to use liquid chlorophyll for injured or surgery until all the pharmaceutical industry got involved. But algae has the most chlorophyll in the world. Chlorella algae is called chlorella because of the chlorophyll. It has 500 times more chlorophyll than arugula and 25 times more than liquid chlorophyll.